Hey everyone, Roman Jenkins here. Welcome back to Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. This is the last mission, and it's fairly short compared to the last few. It's not going to be a big deal either. It's a pretty solid mission. It's pretty easy. And it's actually reusing another one of the early levels for a very specific purpose.
Mitchell, Carlos is being given ground support by his Special Forces group, Oculus 7. You need to take them out before you reach Carlos' chopper. Fire! Good luck, son. We're depending on you.
Moving!
This opening fight sequence is probably the most difficult of the mission. As you can see, my normally reliable rifleman has gone down, and Bo has already run in front of me once. So these guys are just not going to handle it well. Where he is not exactly ideal for me to heal up, but let's go do it anyways. And you'll see that I have an anti-tank gunner, despite the fact that there's no anti-tank need for this level. You'll see why I brought him soon enough. It's actually kind of funny to watch, because this game cannot handle what he does. Oh, he also just wrecks shit up, apparently. I never really used him in this mission, and I decided I wanted to see what would happen. And I figured this would be a good example of why to bring an anti-tank gunner in this last mission. And then I realized he might be able to do something about one specific or two specific instances in this level, and he did not disappoint. But enough about that. You can see I'm once again using the MRC because there's limited weapon selection in this game, and I'm using it in full auto mode, which I am normally not want to do, but I figured I'd give it a shot. It just runs out of ammo way too quickly for me, and I reload like a fiend, as you've probably seen throughout this thing. Every kill, reload, reload, reload. And that can go pretty far. I've been burned by that in a few games, such as the Rainbow Six series, where if you reload after every firefight, you're eventually going to be walking around with a bunch of clips or magazines with 2 or 3 bullets in them because you don't have a stockpile of rounds, you have magazines. This game, luckily for me, does not do that. Alright, let's switch back over to single shot. I keep calling it single shot, I know it's semi-auto. Already I have 2 guys in the red. Ooh. That's right, Johan, coming back from the dead, putting people in their own graves. Alright. So, for the most part, this level is kind of barren of encounters. There's a few of them, but they're fairly well controlled. You don't have to worry about running around a corner into too many snipers, although there are a couple situations like that. But this level is easy. This could have been an early game level. And considering it's on an early game map, I'm not kind of surprised at all, actually. It's very similar to the last mission, which used a lot of a single map that we'd already seen. But unlike that mission, this didn't really change up a lot of the geometry, it didn't change up the conditions, and it put, I probably think, even fewer people than usual on it. So right there, it just made it a little easy. Ooh, and of course I have a guy firing rockets full time right now, so he makes things a little easier too. Look how pro I am.
Back on me. Advance.
So let's send our guys inside. This is very disconcerting, but there are very few story missions in this game. This is one of them.
That's it,
Moving.
Captain. The way is now clear. Return to the APC and proceed to the football's last known position at Angel Plaza.
position.
Move, Captain. We're running out of time.
Anytime I see somebody wearing flames on them, such as that guy, I automatically wonder how many anime button-down silkscreen t-shirts they have. But that's more a prejudice from high school than anything else. Alright, so you can see a bunch of tanks and APCs have been destroyed on this road. So nothing bad could ever happen to me. Looking for snipers. You can tell this isn't going to be a very sniper or fight heavy mission because there's so little cover. Most of the levels have done a really good job of giving us a lot of cover to kind of hide behind, make sure that we're not getting hit a lot. And of course the crappy cover system has not helped a lot. And as we can see here, there's nothing directly ahead of me. So the idea is to get to this APC. Oh, it's gone. Sorry, crappy. Okay, this is why Johan's here.
This time is for keeps.
Ghostly, we have confirmation that Carlos has set down in Angel Plaza. We must assume that Carlos has moved to the embassy and is transferring the codes there. You must intercept Carlos and recover the football before he finishes the transmission.
In position.
Yeah, unless you think to take Johan there, you're going to end up fighting a helicopter, and that thing's going to be a nuisance. But because he's here, I can just take it out in one shot. Not a bad deal. And as you saw, the thing just exploded and disappeared. It didn't have any particle effects, didn't rain down wreckage, anything like that. The game is not built for that sort of thing in this level. You're probably not even supposed to do that. But because I thought to target him, I ended up doing that. There's another one that you're obviously supposed to shoot down that you'll see up ahead.
Captain, I wasn't with Bud when Carlos took him out. I was on the ground. Guess it's up to you and me now. Let's kick that guy's ass and get the football back.
In position. Moving, Captain.
So Carlos is going to be taunting us, similar to what he did right before that helicopter fight for the rest of the level. It's a really bad strategy, of course, because he has, well, really bad strategic decision making, as we'll find out.
Advance.
I can't express how excited I am for this game to almost be over, by the way. It did not live up to my old expectations, and I'll get into that in the credit sequence, which I filmed a little bit of that so we'd know who to blame for this thing. This is one of the more difficult firefight sections of the level if you're not careful. You don't even need to take cover though, because for the most part you can't. There's just a couple guys here. My tactic of firing before I even get around a corner at marksman is working fantastically. And if you remember, this exact plaza is where we started off the mission where we had to get to the US Embassy. Now we're on the actual backside of where we started on that mission. So I'm walking away from the way we went to. This is going to be confusing because if you look at this thing, you think you're actually on the other side of this. It's the fountain positioning that'll do that. And actually, no. I'm wrong. This map's fucked. Holy crap. No, wait, maybe it isn't. This is weird. So, No, I was right the first time. Maybe not. This is weird. I thought I was on the correct side of this, but if you go down this way, you get to Angel Plaza. But if you remember correctly, in the first mission, we went right here after we crossed through that fountain area and ended up at Angel Plaza. So I thought I was on the backside, but that's where the fountain was before, so I'm confused.
Advance.
I don't understand what happened here. This has got to be some weird, clever editing or something like that to send us this way. And we get there much faster, too. So, I don't know if we go down an alternate route that I just couldn't use before or what happened, but this is very confusing.
Ghost Leader, we have serious rebel movement all
Forming
around
on
Angel
you.
Plaza. It's about to get real hot, real fast there, son. It's kill or be killed now, soldier. Eliminate all rebel elements.
Okay, now that I'm kind of over that whole phenomenon, I'm still confused. I don't know. Okay, goodbye.
Weapons free.
I say goodbye. Goodbye. There it goes. Yeah.
Have to reload.
There's about a 99% chance I was supposed to shoot that thing down with bullets, but whatever.
Forming on you. In position.
Yeah, this looks like I'm going backwards through that section of the Angel Plaza thing. Okay. That's weird. I should have looked at the video for the Angel Plaza thing to see if I was right or wrong the first time. But hindsight being 2020, I won't do that. We're almost done, and I'm just so excited about that fact. To be honest, I didn't remember how this game ended, and I've beat it multiple times before, but I just could not remember how this whole... Oh! Well, the army was looking for sharp people, and Johan qualified. Let's just fire a rocket at my two best friends in the world. Not thinking about how bowling pins work, apparently. But, as it were, I cannot remember how this game ended, and so when it finished as ridiculously as it did, I was kind of surprised. But then I realized this game kind of played to its strong suits at the end. Not having you do voiceovers in person with another person or anything like that, using the cross-comm, all that stuff. Good job. However, by today's standards, it's absolutely horrible.
Moving, Captain.
And you'll see and probably mock it along with me at the end. Actually, by friggin' Halo 1 standards, it's kind of bad. But don't tell the Ghost Recon guys that.
I'm here.
Alright, if I'd run over there, I would have been ambushed, and there's a marksman firing at me as well.
Reloading now.
This is, once again, one of the few areas of this level that I actually think is any sort of challenge. You'll see later on, or, well, around the next corners, that it doesn't really continue in that pattern. This is stupid. I know there's a sniper out there somewhere, and I'm walking around in the middle of it. He's above me.
Advance.
My immediate reaction to this wasn't to hunt him down, because I thought that'd be kind of boring. So I went to go look for him a bit, but when
In position.
I'm not really paying too much attention to it, because it's like, whatever. We're almost there. He can't bug me around this corner. So, we leave.
Move.
I wish I'd done that more often. You really can't avoid most of the fights in this game, which is unfortunate because, Ghost Recon's usually been about picking and choosing your fights and knowing when to engage and how to run your team, and this game kind of strips those core concepts.
You only hastened your own death. Come on then, fool.
Yep.
To me.
Forming on you.
I don't understand why they couldn't change Carlos's player model or whatever character model just a little bit so he's not wearing camouflage makeup all the time. It's hard to take him seriously. Actually, this game has one of the worst cop-out endings I've ever experienced. Just the explanation. Remember the entire time we've been talking about how somebody's been hacking our system and they're in our communications network and all that stuff every now and again? Yeah, that gets explained the stupidest way possible. And you'll see it and you'll just kind of wonder what the hell they were thinking. Oh, also, it looks like rockets affect things through walls. Did not know that till now. But seriously, it was a good game in 2006, I thought. I mean, you have to consider it came out a year after Half-Life 2 and a year before BioShock. Those two are pretty much classics in the whole first-person genre, and this is kind of a generic military shooter by those standards. So it's kind of weird to think that this was a high point in 2006 for a lot of people, and especially a lot of people playing Xbox 360. But we're almost at the end, so I won't be able to complain and wonder about that too much longer.
Move.
This is kind of a dumb boss fight.
I have killed your friend. I have the briefcase. I have everything.
Contact.
So, Carlos is trying to transmit the security codes for nuclear warheads from inside the embassy. Now, you would think that means he would be deep inside the embassy if his total goal is to bring about nuclear war between the US, Russia, and China and cause the Fallout 3 reality to become, well, reality. Instead, he gets on top of the roof.
You might get the best of my men, but you won't take me in the joke.
That's right. He gets on top of the roof. You have a long-range gun. You just have to shoot him. He doesn't even shoot back from what I can tell. He's just up there to shoot. And once he pops up there, it's just easy. Of course, the first time I tried to do it, the game wouldn't zoom in, so I couldn't shoot at him. Like, I'm clicking the stick now and it won't do it. So I'm trying to do this. I thought it was story protection at the time. But after a second, I tried again, and easy enough, he's gone. Watch this. It doesn't even take more bullets.
No!
Done. Game over. I saved the world.
Yeah! You
up, bastard! That was for fun!
Mitchell, I've got NORAD on the line. Whatever you did worked. Exceptional work, soldier. Captain, proceed to Black Hawk 6 for extraction. You're going home, soldier.
To me! Forming on you!
So, as a nice touch, the Mexican soldier started to flee at the end there. I thought that was kind of interesting and neat, but that's just me. I think that was one of the few nice little touches the game put in there. For a game that doesn't even have reload animations that actually animate your gun, that's kind of impressive. And for about a second after we get onto this thing, I think that I'm going to have to man the turret through one more section, and thankfully I don't. But that's pretty much been Ghost Recon, guys. There's not really an ending sequence except for the little news blurb, and I've stuck around with most of the credits. Might do a little bit over those if you want to stick around after that. But thanks for watching this, and I don't think I'm really going to do anything for a while. So I'll see you guys whenever I do something again. Bye.
Just wanted to commend you on some excellent work out there, Captain Mitchell. And I've got something you'll be interested to know. General Antiveros had help from influential people within the U.S. in his attempts to block NATSA. I'm patching some video through. Stand by.
And we are now being told that retired U.S. General James Monroe was arrested moments ago for what some believe is his involvement in Mexico's failed coup attempt.
Well, that explains how Carlos was able to hack his way into NORAD's computer. He had help on the inside.
Precisely. General Monroe opposed any idea of a joint security agreement with Canada and Mexico, and pursued all means at his disposal to stop it.
But I still don't understand why.
He thought the best way to derail NADSA was to overthrow the Mexican government and put close friends like General Ontiveros in power, even if it meant scaring the Russians and Chinese and putting the whole world on the edge of nuclear annihilation. And to think, it almost worked.
Okay, so wasn't that one of the greatest cop-out endings you've ever seen? Not only did we have so little information on anyone even hacking the system, it's simply something they mentioned a couple times, but it's some guy who's not even related to the story in any ways. We had so many expositionary characters in this game that it could have been one of them. He could have been a double agent the entire time. How about the guy who gave us the last briefing? He could have been that guy. No. Instead, it's somebody who's completely unrelated to the rest of the fucking game. And Jesus Christ, I honestly think that we're beyond that now in games, but who knows? So I mentioned a lot of times in the first few levels of this game, and as this game got worse, how much I hated it, that this was one of my favorite games when it came out, and I used to go back to play it all the time. And I continuously wondered throughout the entire Let's Play what happened to this game. Why is it so nearly unplayable compared to a lot of games from the same era? As I mentioned before, BioShock came out a year after, and Half-Life 2 came out a year before. And I think part of it is just the clunkiness. I don't think it's smooth. First-person shooters are a little more refined, even back in 2004 and 2007, than third-person shooters with a cover system were. And yes, there had been third-person shooters with cover systems. We always talk about the infamous kill dot switch, and I think we don't talk enough about James Bond Everything or Nothing, which also did a co-op mode, which really, more games need to have dedicated co-op campaigns that were as long as the Everything or Nothing series was. But both those games used an interesting cover mechanic that got aped later on. Of course, Everything or Nothing had an interesting aiming mechanic as well. Gears of War is, of course, the more famous of the cover-based shooters, and it came out in the same year as this game. But because this game is also chained by the Ghost Recon moniker, it had to go slower, it had to be more tactically thought out, you had a squad to control. I mean, that's completely acceptable, is it not? The issue is that in keeping the game slower paced, and keeping the squad mechanics as a major part of it, you take out a lot of the shooting, which is why a lot of people were there. I also think I have an issue with the game because I remember the multiplayer being a lot more fun than the single player was, even back when I played single player and multiplayer. It's because the multiplayer had a lot of interesting mechanics for its time. The selective fire mode, which you don't really see enough in games, although Battlefield 3 makes good use of it. The UAV system and the crosscom both make appearances in the multiplayer. So you have a UAV that you can guide over the battlefield, and you can actually switch to various teammates to see what they see without going into too much detail. It's actually pretty cool. It also removes the cover system, which takes out a lot of the wonk in this game, but it keeps the shoulder switching mechanic. You can also go prone, switch to grenades, all that stuff, and you could switch weapons, not on the fly, but between deaths and such. So it's a pretty good mix of stuff. But the single player just doesn't hold up to my memory of it, and I feel kind of bad about going into this game and talking about it so badly when it was a great game for 2006. It won a Game of the Year award or whatever it was, which, say what you want about it winning from one publication or another, but it still won. So I hope everyone had a good time. I hope this rant at the end didn't sour anyone on my opinions of this stuff, and I'll see you maybe next time.